Hi everyone! It has been a little while since I've been able to put a video out, and that's because I have been in major life transition. And so I thought, now that I'm feeling a little settled, what a great opportunity but to post a video on dealing with transition. I think as a society and community, a lot of us are in some form of transition. People experience things like they move, or, people are graduating, people are encountering grief and loss, the end of some relationships, job loss is going around a lot. And even, we can experience transition in shifts of season. So transitions really induce mental health issues and can also increase the risk of problematic behaviors. And a lot of times, like mentally, transitions induce fear, anxiety, panic attacks, loneliness, isolation, issues with sleep, also digestive issues. And so I think that if you identify with being in transition and feeling some of these challenges, it's so important to remember there is a beginning, a turning point, and an end to transition. And really, the coping skills that you choose to use play a crucial role in getting you through. So, even doing a little bit of research on transition, I noticed that some of the strategies were very basic. And to be fair, sometimes it's important to go back to the basics. So, in transition, it is about self-care, making sure that you are eating regularly, healthy, balanced meals, at least 2 a day, that you are working on sleep hygiene and, really reducing tech use and focusing on grounding. So I think self-care is a word that we hear a lot, but it's because it's important to use self-care practices each and every day. I also want to promote, connection with others, community, therapy, any form of groups as a really great support in getting people through transition periods. But there were 5 specific strategies that were super helpful for me, and I hope that at least one can be helpful for you. And so the first one was strategic thinking and planning. I am a left brain type A planner sometimes, and most of the time, if I'm being honest. And so for me, it was really important to plan ahead. I develop a lot of roadmaps, so I have a sense of, the beginning, the middle, and what the end looks like. And these roadmaps or strategic thinking and planning, they just help to provide a sense of control and also direction. So there were a few times, maybe twice, where I noticed I was getting a little off of my roadmap, and it was important to acknowledge that, talk to my partner, and get back on track. I also love negotiating with myself just to minimize risks. So I am aware of potential challenges and address them head on. So there's an important part here. I think when we're in transition and more challenges get tossed on our plate, we can go into avoidance. We can bring up our devices and hook into them more regularly. So we do things to distract ourselves, and we actually need to do the opposite of that. And so we have to be aware of challenges, face them head on. And what this does is it fosters resilience, and it's very empowering, and we can build a deeper sense of confidence with ourselves. So do your best to face these things head on. Apply lessons learned. So it can be really helpful to reflect on previous times where you've gone through transition and take lessons learned in order to help you really be aware of what's going on in the present. And so, I've just moved, I've changed my work schedule, I'm trying to do things differently in my personal and professional life. And I've looked at times where I've transitioned before and recognized where I did really well and also where there can be opportunities of growth. So, an opportunity for growth for me right now is forcing myself to slow down and be more present and mindful, because that is something I've not been very good at. And it can really take away from joy and happiness when I'm just skipping ahead to the next thing. Seek information is another strategy. And so this is where we want to do some research and address any knowledge gaps that we may have. So I've moved out to the country. I am a lifelong city person. And so I've had to do a lot of research. I've had to do a lot more financial planning, a lot more like communicating hard conversations with my partner, with my families, and also taking feedback from other people, which is very important too, because that helps me to not feel so alone in decision-making process. And so, when we address knowledge gaps, it helps us to make us feel more informed and make the best decisions for us. The last thing, which should probably be first, is really to put change into perspective. Like, it's so important to understand that change happens every day. Change is normal, and we can alleviate distress in the long term by looking at change that way. My hair changes every day, and the outdoors change every day. And so we just have to normalize that things are always changing, and maybe we don't need to fear change as much as some of us do. So those are just some strategies. Think ahead, strategic planning, self-negotiation, minimize risks, apply lessons learned, seek information and guidance, and put change into perspective. My last strategy that I'll throw in, because this has been the most important one to me in the last couple of months, is really just to focus on getting grounded. For me, that's taking my shoes off and walking on the earth, laying down in the grass, listening to, right now, the wind and the trees and the birds chirping. Like, for me, getting grounded happens in nature. It happens within my community, my friends. It doesn't necessarily happen when I'm watching TV or scrolling Instagram. And so I've really had to figure out what are the grounding practices that are so important for me. And the last one is dancing and laughter. I have found that dancing on my own, with other people, with my animals, with my plants, over the last little while has really helped to break up the stress and the cortisol that I'm carrying in my system. So that's where I've been. This is where I am now. I hope to put more content out there, and I hope that this was helpful for someone who may find themselves in transition today. And that's all for now.